Wow, have we got a great show for you today. The amount of money being raised through crowdfunding is insane. As of 2025, the comic category alone has raised $274 million. Unfortunately, not every campaign is successful. In fact, only 42% of Kickstarter campaigns actually succeed. So, we are learning what it takes and what the most successful campaigns do to rise to the top, and we're going to pass that knowledge on to you.
On today's show, we're going to help some creators reach their goals. Destiny will choose 3 indie campaigns for us to review. After, we offer tips, and we will choose one to back and support. Stay to the end, see who we will choose, see if you agree with us, and what the comic book Showdown of Ultimate Destiny will choose. Because in the end,
there can be only one.
All right. Well done. Well done. Happy Friday, everyone. We got our coffee, which may or may not be spiked. You'll never know. It could just be full of whiskey. Who knows?
Full of love and warmness.
We got a lot of entries today. We're excited. The entries are increasing because the campaigns are starting to increase. Currently, right now, there are 166 campaigns on Kickstarter alone, but we've also got some entries from Fund My Comic, I think Indiegogo, so it's going to be awesome. Just to make sure, give us a comment in the chat if you can hear everything okay, if there's any weirdness, because Dead Cosmos said he's hearing some feedback, but it might just be him, he says. John Westoff, welcome. John's got an entry with Drumsticks of Doom this week, I believe. No, wait. Yeah, he does.
Drumsticks of Doom could be a really awesome, like, chicken wing menu item. Just saying.
Drumsticks of Doom. I like it. I like it. It's like the super hot version that's going to blow out your ass.
That's right. The only thing that's going to be left is the sphincter that squeezed it through. Yeah!
I went to the doctor for a checkup recently and stopped in to potentially get a donut at a donut shop nearby. I didn't actually get one, by the way. I walked in. One of their donut options was called the Heart Attack. And I said, this is probably not a good idea. I'm going to go.
Some second thoughts there, huh?
Yep.
It happens.
All right.
It happens.
Nate McGarry Myers is here with his comic Predation, which is on the Wheel of Destiny. We've got a lot of entries today. It's pretty exciting. So over the past 35 episodes, episode 35, can you believe it? I know.
And like an episode older than 22.
Thanks, man. Thanks. I made a deal with the devil. Ta-da. Over those 35 episodes, and just from our experience making campaigns, being in comics, storytelling, and the like, we have learned a lot about what works and what doesn't, and how you can best, improve your chances of having a successful campaign. We're not going to guarantee it, but we can certainly point out some things that could help. And that's what we're going to try and do on this show. Isn't that right, Smurf?
It's true. We have absolutely helped and encouraged creators to best utilize the skills and the talents that God has given them, and we help them along the way with filling in a few holes. And sometimes it works, and I think we're right about, 90% as far as a success rating right now? People have adjusted their campaigns to our suggestions. And like we said, this is a suggestion based on Matt and I's lengthy experience and compound knowledge of comics, creators, and campaigns. So we're just here to help. We're not here to throw shade. Trust us. We're not not that clever, really. Just saying. Too early for that.
Well, you did say fill some holes, so All right. So one of the things that we've a couple of things we've talked about before. Let's just throw some of the common denominators out there that we've seen over and over again. We might see them again today, but if you're watching the show for the first time, you might get some tips right away. The first one that we say all the time is don't bury the lead.
Don't bury the lead.
What's that mean, Smurf?
It means that we're scrolling very, very, very deeply into the heart, the tagline, the hook, the meat of your campaign. We don't need to know all about the artists. You're lovely people. We know that. We understand that. But I'm not buying a comic book based on you. I'm buying a comic book based on the story, the pitch. So when you bury the lead as far as why I'm going to buy this, why am I going to care, why am I going to spend my hard-earned money, and it's way down at the bottom, you're not catching anyone's attention. Because after, Joey Bag of Donuts is, been doing covers for 10 years, okay, how does that translate into the story? Don't start off with the creative team.
Exactly. Yeah, most people don't know who the creative team is. They're not really that invested unless they're already friends of yours, in which case they already know who you are.
And they already know. Right? Yeah.
Definitely save all that who the creators are, who the artists are for a little bit farther down. We want to get right away into the who, what, when, and why, right? Who is this comic about? What kind of comic is it? A lot of what I'm seeing lately is, like, what am I getting? Is it a 24-page comic? Is it a 12-page comic? Is it a 100-page comic? They just say, hey, here's my comic. Here's how much it costs, but you don't know. So you got to paint a picture for people. They're not able to grab it and hold it and look at it on the shelf like they are, at a comic book shop. So you got to tell them, this is going to be bound. If you have pictures of it, that's even better, right?
This is the ground up marketing. This is, and you're right. Some people may know who you are, and you don't need to sell to them. It's that passerby, that person that is new to you, to your art, to your story, that you need to hook. It's great to keep your friends and fans fed. However, how do you continue to expand your platform and your brand if you're not bringing in new readers? And this is how we think the best approach to that is. Don't bury the lead.
Right. Don't bury the lead. We're gonna have to make a comic book Showdown of Ultimate Destiny T-shirt that just says "Don't bury the lead" on one side.
Dude, I'd support that every day.
Don't bury the lead.
Don't bury the lead.
Right. That brings me to another point, another tip, and that is that no matter how many comics that you've made, always make your comic campaign to the people who have never seen it before, as if they've never seen it before. We see a lot in these campaigns, like, hey, this is, issue 5 of the series. Welcome everybody back. Thanks for your support of the previous campaigns. Let's get to it. And you're just sitting there going, huh? What's this about? I don't know. Right. Especially when you have comics that are an ongoing series, try to, treat each issue as its own thing. And a really good place to get some help with that, 2 places I would recommend. Number 1 is the previews magazine in your local comic shop. Every comic has a quick description and tells you what that particular issue is about, even though it's an ongoing series. Every issue should have something interesting. Number 2 is the descriptions, on your television shows. When you are on Netflix or whatever, there's usually a little description about what's going on in each episode. That's another great one. So coming up with a way to describe what this individual issue is about instead of just the whole series, the whole thing, it doesn't tell us enough, because you're asking people to buy that issue. And if it's new to them, if like, I've never heard of it, and you're asking me to buy issue 3 or 4, is this one going to entertain me enough? Or do I also have to go back and buy the first issues just to even know what's going on? If so, I may not be interested, right? I want to get excited by this one book and then want to go back and get the other ones, right?
Well, it can also serve as a deterrent, because and this isn't just you. This is the comic book industry. I'm coming in the middle of a story. Is it going to make sense to me? Do I need to know the other 2 issues, if this is issue 3, to be able to enjoy? Or this is the second series of an ongoing story. So do I need the other ones to make this make sense? So
Right.
it's a deterrent more than you think. And comic nerds are not a lazy bunch, but you know what? They definitely need. Huh?
How many people out there they're watching now or watching this later, have had the conversation with someone about, I didn't really get into that comic series with Marvel or DC because I had to go find all these books in all these different titles. I mean, Civil War was the epitome of that, trying to find comics in all these different places. So it's like the same kind of concept, this one issue might tie into other things, but I want this one issue to be an entertaining thing by itself. Right?
Yep, exactly.
Who agrees with me out there? Throw your thumbs up. All right. Enough with the preloaded tips. I wanted to start off with some tips right away.
Some best practices.
Yep. So let's get into what we've got going on for today. Let's see. Let me get the presentation screen and then the Wheel of Destiny. There it is.
Comics do split stories all the time. That is correct.
Yeah. And it can be hard to find the continuation. There you go.
I mean, even like the recent Marvel's been making a run at doing this. I mean, like half of the new United Under Doom story has taken place over 3 different titles, and that's going to be their big summer blockbuster. So, I mean, yikes!
And at least with Marvel and DC or those bigger companies, if there's a continuation or there's other books you have to find, at least you can go get them somewhere, like at your comic shop probably, or maybe even online. But when you're talking indie on Kickstarter campaigns and whatnot, and someone's like, all right, I want to check this book out for the first time ever, and then they find out there's more to the story, sometimes it's hard for them on indie comics. So you want to make it, one, as entertaining as possible for that one thing so they want more. And 2, get those books up on a store somewhere as quickly as you can so that they can get to them easily and have a link to it in your comic.
It's true. I mean, X-Men's notorious for doing it over 4 or 6 titles. Notorious. All right, let's see who has entered this week into the Wheel of Destiny. We have an impressive list, a lot of returning names we've seen before. We've got Bounty, Worthy Chaos Devastation, which I took a quick peek at, is crushing it. This girl is on social media all the time, in the groups, in the stuff. So she's a great one to follow as far as how to connect with the social media platforms. We've also got Ice and Bone returning, Drumsticks of Doom, The Public Defender, Predation, Captain Zabibi and the 7 Summoners. That's a cool sounding name. We have that just rolls off the tongue.
Another fun one called The Stabbity Bunny. Heirs of Isildur, Blood and Sword, issue 2. So those are entries this week's Wheel of Destiny. Destiny will decide on 3 of them, and then we will take a look at them this week. If your campaign is still live next week and doesn't get selected by the Wheel of Destiny today, then you can submit again. You want to do that at facebook.com/Actionline Studios. There will be a post there. You can, and if there's not a post, then you can just directly message it. So that's the entries. Let's
fucking go.
There can be only one Highlander type situation. Behold, my wheel of
Destiny.
Let's
Pitter patter, let's get at her.
Time to spin the wheel.
time to spin the wheel. All right. First up. Number 1. Looks like The Public Defender. Make sure I have that one. That one looks like it's on Kickstarter. Very good. Next up, number 2. Who's it gonna be? Looks like our new entry, Predation, makes it for the first time. So we got Predation and Public Defender. One more. Number 3. Oh. Drumsticks of Doom. Congratulations to the 3 that have been chosen by Destiny. Again, if you're on the list and didn't make it in, be sure and go submit to the Wheel of Destiny again on Kickstarter, or excuse me, on Facebook at Action Line Studios. So let me set up the first one here and get rid of some of these others. There's a lot of great ones out there. I hope we get a chance to check them out. Let's see. First one was Public Defender. There's that one, and then Predation, and then last one is Drumsticks of Doom. Got it.
Dun dun dun.
All right, cleaning out the tabs of the ones I don't need anymore. If you're watching on Facebook right now, be sure and share out the show so we can reach new audiences. If you know any of these people and they're not currently watching, send them a message and let them know we're about to take a look at their campaign. All right. What? Starting off with Public Defender. Let's take a look. There it is. We'll zoom in on this for a second. All right. Says the Public Defender, number 1, the life of a super slacker. What happens when a stoner is bitten by a radioactive lawyer? Find out in this anthology. Apparently. Find out in this anthology of 16 stories about the Public Defender. 16 different stories about a stoner bitten by a radioactive lawyer. That's kind of fascinating in itself.
You don't normally see that in your Public Defenders. I mean, that's such odd behavior.
Right?
Counselor?
So,
was he a dentist previously? I mean, how do you get bitten? I mean, what are you doing to enrage a counselor to bite you?
A radioactive lawyer.
And a radioactive one at that.
All right. Currently, they have a goal of 4,400, and they are a little over halfway at 2,450 with 14 days to go. So they're right about the halfway point, at about halfway through the campaign, assuming they're at a 30-day campaign. Now, they have an impressive 119 backers. All right. So what I like to do when I'm doing these campaigns, and you should do this too for your campaigns if you do more than one, is I'm going to currently take the amount of money they've raised, which is $2,450, and divide that by the amount of backers, right? And that gives you the average cost per backer, which is currently $20.58. Okay.
It's respectable.
So knowing that that average, that tells you, like what people are spending, and it also tells you where your tiers are at, right? So when I do a campaign, I'm trying to shoot for like a $30 to $35 average as like the best package. So that package I load up, right? For $30, $35, you're going to get the book. You're going to get your name in the thank you section. You're going to get a PDF of the book. You're going to get, prints. You're going to get a sticker, so that I'm enticing them to get that package. And I want to like load it up so that they feel like they're getting a lot of value. The balance is to try not to, break the bank doing it. So things that don't cost you extra, like, hey, Doesn't cost anything extra to also give a PDF if they've purchased the book, right? Or to put their name in a thank you section. That takes a little bit of effort, in typing something up, but that's about it, right?
Well, and especially like a PDF of, if you're doing variant covers, a PDF of one of the alternate covers, something that is cool that, you normally are not going to find in a comic book store, that is exclusive to the Kickstarter itself, that once this is done, you're not going to have this opportunity again.
Right. So another thing that this doing this division can tell you is that how many backers you're going to need to hit your goals. So if you have an average of $20 in your previous campaign and you set your new goal for, $4,000, well, that means you're going to need, what's the math? They're divided by 20, 200 backers, right? It gives you an idea of what you're going to need. So either
that's if everyone maintains the $20 average. If
it's a good starting point. It's a good average because
good starting point.
And so generally, if I'm looking at that, I'm like, okay, 200 backers. That's a lot more than what you're normally used to getting. And maybe your last campaign only got 75 or 100 backers. So you're like, okay, I need to get more backers, or I need to get people to spend more money. Right. So that means either bumping up more value in the higher end tiers or doing a lot more work, getting people to come check it out, doing more campaigning, more marketing and that kind of stuff. So.
And there's nothing wrong with having a whale tier. And I call it a whale because you have those people that they're the big whale. All right.
Yeah.
Call me Ishmael. All right. I want that son of a bitch. But there's nothing wrong with having a big, large, fat, juicy tier, because even if nobody jumps on it, at least it's there. And you got to scratch the ticket to win. So if you put something big that is maybe one or two items, that's kind of what a lot of these people that are going to Kickstarter are looking for. Something unique, something fun that is very limited, and some are willing to pay. There's the one that Matt and I keep talking about that offered a trip to a con, to sit at a table, to be behind the scenes. I still think that's probably one of the most original and best thought out tiers I've ever seen. I don't think anyone bought it, but I think the premise and the idea is spectacular. It is great.
Yep.
Sign me up.
I agree with you.
Right.
Have the whale on there as well. Now, something interesting about this campaign right out of the gate, it does not have a video, which is one of the things that we tend to look at in this show because we do video editing and audio editing. So is there we've talked about this before. Do you absolutely have to have a video? No. But does it increase your chances of success? Yes. Statistics
at least by 50%.
This is provable. The statistics are there. If you go look, you can look it up on the internet and tell you the percentages exactly. But now one thing that this got, which is always great, and I think there's a secret to this. Some of you guys have maybe got this before, maybe but this has got the Project We Love tag from Kickstarter, right? Now, in the past, what am I trying to say? In the past, there was like a person, an email that you can contact at Kickstarter, and basically you would just send them directly your campaign and let them know, hey, I'm starting a Kickstarter. And what it would do is put it in front of their face and they would go check it out. And the chances increased exponentially that you would end up on the Project We Love because that particular person was in charge of that.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if it's still that way, but
I don't think it is, but right? I don't know. I don't want to speak out of turn on that one either, because a lot of people that submitted hoping, and some did, a lot didn't. So I don't know.
I can tell you, I've done many campaigns and I've never gotten the Project We Love on its own, unless I reached out to the person like I did at the very beginning. John Apple says, right, depending on your artist, having backers' likenesses is an easy win. He's talking about as a way to get those higher level tiers, those whale tiers. You can get in there and you can say, hey, you want to be in the comic, and or maybe the next comic, we can have your artist draw you. Maybe even just do like a sketch. You know, talk to your artist. If you're not the artist of the book, if you're the writer, talk to your artist. Say, hey, would you be willing to do, you know, 1 or 2 or 3, like say, you know, cover sketches or 9x12 sketches, or maybe smaller since we put them in comic book boxes. And what would you charge for that? If they say, you know, I'd charge you $100. All right. So then you make the tier like $150 or $200 so that, you know, you're making a little from the tier as well. But
because you still have to make a profit. You still have to make a profit.
Yeah. Mar says, I gave away some original art every time I got X amount of backers, and that helped. Absolutely. There's a lot of creative ways you can do to get money. Back to the public defender.
So if we don't have a video, are we burying the lead, or are we actually diving in why a radioactive counselor decided to take a bite out of this dude's ass?
We're going to find out, hopefully. We're going to scroll down and dig a little bit and see what it says. Right off the bat in the story section, there's this image that, interestingly enough, says cover with inks by Gerald von Stoddard, who's been a recent guest and a co-host on the show. Colors by Guillermo Lindbergh Mendez. I'm sure I butchered that. Now, interestingly,
Guillermo well.
I don't know how well you guys can see it. I'll make this full screen. In this cover image, you've got our main character, our slacker stoner guy, sitting on a pile of bodies that include the Hulk, the Tick, Iron Man, Captain America, Daredevil, Carnage, all this stuff. This is interesting to me. I don't know where the line is drawn when you can do that. I'm just terrified of crossing that line. But
that is an IP cease and desist waiting to happen. Is what that is.
Maybe, but maybe not. I don't know where the IP laws lie.
Are you kidding? Spawn number, what is it, 8? Where just barely the hand coming out of the cage when Cerebus was spawned down the cell. And the character's arms are sticking out. McFarlane still got a whack on the PP of like, don't do that again. You don't have rights to any of those of those characters. So to use full likeness like that is, you are flirting with danger.
Yeah, it's interesting. Right. It's interesting. So I mean, I understand, like in video and other things, you can use things for parody. You can use things for like news, like if I'm going to report on a thing or if I'm going to review a thing, I can use it for that. But in this case, I don't know that it's either one of those.
You can legally go up to 90% of likeness. That you got like a 10% window to adjust the likeness. I don't think there's 10% there. I think that's a blown IP stomping. So you're
I like what my
you know what, it's a bold choice.
Yes, it is. I love what Cosmos has to say. He says you might be able to use that in marketing later, as in, we got banned by Marvel. Come see what all the fuss is about.
That's a badge of honor right there. My no prize is in the mail, and I got banned by Marvel. That is awesome.
Yeah, I mean, it could work. It could work. As they say, you know, bad publicity is still publicity. Hopefully. All right, right below that controversial image that we've got, we go into a little article. So let's see what it tells us. Public Defender is superhero satire. Well, there's part of the thing we're looking for.
Part of what we're looking for.
And it's a satire self-insert, anthology that comes from the mind of Jeff Schiller, and 16 comics from one of his favorite independent artists. It's like The Tick meets American Splendor. They're both about stoners suffering a bit of body horror. All right, so then we have an example of art. And so, yeah, then you've got, so here we have like a Superman-esque type character, but he's blue with a pink cape and a slightly different logo. So it's definitely got that parody feel, right?
Yep.
On the covers, it looked definitely a lot more like them. So here's one last little bit. Might give us some information. It says public defender is a seemingly regular guy who's been bitten by a radioactive lawyer. We still don't understand why. When he was 19, and has been cursed with the look of a superhero ever since. Public defender lives in a world with other actual superheroes, so it's easy for normal people to assume he's got powers based on the way he appears post bite. So he's not really powerful. He just looks like it.
Okay.
So.
Okay.
All right, and then we've got the team, and then we've got some more samples there. Looks like a couple different
pages,
samples.
Yeah, a lot of pages.
Yeah. Lots of samples. That's good. Over here on the rewards level, we've got a digital bundle for $5, which has got 45 backers in it. So that's just to let you know, a lot of people jump on those digital backing things, especially when it's indie and it's new, because they want to test the waters first. Then the physical is $10. A digital thank you package for $15. That gets your name in the thank you page, as well as the digital, and then a physical thank you package. So they broke their rewards up into two separate things. There is get the book and the book alone, and then there is get the book with having a thank you in the back, right? And that might work. I've never tried it that way. When I do my campaigns, I basically make every in the what's it called, the survey, I ask everyone that's supported if they'd like to have their name in the back, and some people do say no. They'll just like leave it blank, right? But then the other, because in my opinion, one, it's an easy way to give them something. Again, it doesn't cost anything. So it makes the reward more valuable, even if it's only $5. It doesn't cost me anything to make that page. And two, the more names I have in the back, the more impressive it looks, right? So that's another reason to do it. Going all the way down, let's see if he's got a whale in here. All right, looks like the biggest one is be a superhero. For $125, anyone who missed be a superhero but still wants to make room for them. I don't understand that. Physical copy of Public Defender, name on the thank you page, and one of 5 spots where you can be a superhero on the back cover. All right. So that part makes sense. I don't understand the first part.
Which brings us to one of our other more common ones. Have someone proof this.
Well, I think I just figured it out. There was a early bird package that was called Be a Superhero. That was only $75 to be in the book. But looks like that was limited on time, or maybe quantity. I don't know. But those were taken. All 5 of those were jumped on. And then there's
for $75, that's kind of cool. I would pop 75 for that.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
Sure, exactly. It's not too much. All right, so that's about all we got for this campaign. What do you think, Smurf?
I mean, I like the premise. I understand what's going on. I don't know. Satire is a hard nut to crack, because I don't know if they're funny. And there's got to be some kind of like outlying wit and fun and something that hooks me. I mean, I love the Tick, but I get the Tick. I don't know. There's a lot of vagueness in this one, and I think a video would help for sure and add some, like, I don't know, juices to it. But I mean, evidently, again, not everything is for me, and I get that. But other people see it, so I don't know. I think I'd keep scrolling because I got it. I want more.
I want more.
I want more.
All right, I love the premise. I think that the idea looks cool. The artwork looks cool. I do feel like one of the best things a video could have done here is really set the tone for what kind of satire, what kind of comedy are we looking at, because there's a lot of different kinds. It might jive with me, it might not. And I'm just so unsure right now that I don't know if I would completely dive in to it with just what I've been given. Now, there are a lot of pages that I did not read. All right. They might show me some of that content or show me some of that vibe, but I think getting up there in the video and, doing a little voice acting about, one of the jokes or a couple of the tones, set the tone for it, would make a huge impact for me.
And maybe that's my hesitation. I just don't know what kind of humor. It may be bad puns. It may be, a litany of dad jokes. I mean, I don't know the humor to kind of like, I mean, I don't know. And you're right. I think a video would set that tone and would fill in a few holes for me. In the meantime, I'm just kind of like,
That's what she said.
There he goes, filling in holes again.
Filling in holes. I don't know if I'd spend my allowance on it. I don't know.
All right. All right. Then we shall go on to the next one, which was Predation. And let's go ahead and switch to this. There we go. All right. Now, one of the things that I try to keep in mind with these Kickstarters is that there are some people who are experienced. They've been on Kickstarter several times. They've helped other people. They know the ropes. Then there's people who are doing it for the very first time. So just like what I said about making your campaign market to the new audience, I try to think about that when we're making these videos, right? To the person who's never made a Kickstarter before, and give as many tips and pointers as possible. Because where else are you going to find out the information? It's not like maybe one of these days I'll sit down and just put together a guidebook of like things you should know before launching on Kickstarter.
I mean, and if you've got money to pay for the Kickstarter promotion team, I've seen more and more people using that service. I have no idea what it costs, but I mean, some of the stuff that they put together is really like top shelf, like top notch.
Yeah, usually it's like a upfront fee and then a percentage of your campaign. So if you're small time, it might not be worth it to you yet. But when you get up, above $5,000 in raised money, that might be something to check it out. To the last campaign, Dead Cosmos said a video directed by Kevin Smith would be a perfect fit for that.
I mean, the king of satire for sure.
All right. Predation is our next book. An evil being known as Ramos controls his ruthless minions that hunt the local peaceful natives. A small group stands against him. They are currently at $743 out of a $3,100 goal with 29 days to go, which means they're just getting started. So there's lots of hope left. Again, no video, right? It's twice today. It just gives us a lot more time. We got to talk.
Hopefully you guys like the sound of my voice because you're going to get a lot of it today.
Marv is with us and he says, building an audience is harder than everything else. I've seen lots of campaigns with great comics fail, unfortunately. You can have a fantastic campaign, but who is looking at it? Absolutely true, Marv. We actually had a campaign last year that was made by professional animators. You could tell in the art, you could tell in their video, but one of the things that animators are known for is nose to the grindstone behind the keyboard, on the computer screen, and not on social media, because their work is not about getting out there into the public. It's just about being a cog in the machine of the animation, I know this. I used to do animation, and
that's experience talking.
It's a fun job, but like there's no individual recognition except like within the office or in the studio, or your name in a credits list that's like 10 miles long along with everybody else, right? Whereas
with all the
comics,
other animators.
comics is cool because you go to conventions and you sit behind a table and people come up and shake your hand and go, "Oh, wow, you're a comic artist. That's so cool." Right? But you have to do all the work to promote yourself. And that's what people don't realize is that when you get into making comics, you've decided that you're going to start a business and that you have to wear all these hats, marketing and promotion and all that stuff. It's not easy at all. All right. Back to predation. We've got an intro. Did that tell you anything? An evil being known as Ramus controls his ruthless minions that hunt the local peaceful natives, and a small group stands up against him. That's our story.
I mean, that's probably the best pitch today so far. I mean, I like that I know the evil being's name. I mean, that's a nice segue into, okay, I want to know more about Ramos now. At least there's like a connection, and that's like the other thing. If you had just said Ramos is terrorizing people, you know what? That would have put both of us off. But instead, an evil being. Ooh, is he from another world? You're giving us enough that we are asking natural questions of why, what, and where, versus us going, well, who the hell's Ramos? Why do I care?
Right.
It's amazing how a proper phrased tag and synopsis will raise questions versus kind of like, we're nerds. Well, we're picky.
and the thing is, there's two different ways to raise questions. You know, like there is reading something and going, what the hell did I just read? I'm confused. Or there's raising questions in the sense of, oh, I'm intrigued. I want to know more. You know, and this one's definitely doing that so far. We know that something, you know, there's something bad and that there is a small group of people who want to stand against him. So we know what they're trying to do, right? Now, we don't really know any whys yet. So down in the story, oh my gosh, this has got to be the shortest campaign listing I've ever seen in my life. Look at that.
Holy crap.
That's it.
Wham, bam, thank you, ma'am.
Yeah. So I'm going to read it and let's hope it's amazing because this is all we get. It says, the dynamic art by Nate McGarry Myers supports a compelling narrative. That's not a good first line. Narrative. Wait, this said narrative. It said
narrative.
Compelling narrative, period. Narrative that takes us into the last of this world's native population. The populace have fought a losing battle to keep their peaceful existence, but the conqueror Ramos has other ideas. Between him and his minions, the natives see their defenses dwindling. Will a hero emerge? The struggle is universal. Might doesn't make right, and one among the few defenders left will have to find the courage to stand up to the villain and say, not today. Will that someone step up? Who knows? Only time will tell. Al Clover, the comic book detective. All right. So that's it. That's all we got. And BMD Nerd just beat me to the punch here. Here's something from a fellow comic book creator and supporter of indie comics. By the way, BMD, thanks for supporting my comic too. If I don't see any interior comic pages, I don't buy. Boom. There it is, right?
I mean, that's two mic drops because the intro is very conflicting. It's misleading, redundant, narrative. I mean, it just this one's a hard sell based off of that, and I agree. I don't see interior or even like a cover, come on. If you don't care about your Kickstarter, nobody else will.
All right. Now, apparently he got the memo because he did mention us and say that there is a preview of the first few pages in the update. All right. Now, you can go back and add things to the campaign page, even after the campaign is started. So I would recommend putting this on your homepage, right? So people get an idea. All right. So here we've got some artwork, and one of the things that I just throw this out there that I would recommend is when you're first starting out, the most inexpensive thing that you can pay for, but it's also one of the most valuable things you can pay for, is to pay for a letterer, right? I'm seeing a lot of strange custom bubbles. Like I don't know if you can see this. I'll zoom in here.
I can. Oh yeah, I can see it.
Where the text is sort of touching the side of the bubble. We've got some, strange stuff going on there, and a letterer is averaging around $10 to $15 a page, and that will make your pages look infinitely more professional, and it's worth the investment, right? So I would definitely recommend that, and I'd also recommend putting these images on the homepage, right? So we've got some cool looking monsters.
See?
Like that cool looking
That
artwork.
is cool. That should be at the top.
I mean, look at that shot right there.
That is, I mean, look at that. That is great. The colors on point. I love the line work. I mean, the character design is definitely okay. That looks like an imposing baddie. Okay.
Right. Yeah. That guy's cool. That's definitely like reminds me of something out of the pages of Conan or something. Right.
Totally.
Now, here's something else. We're going to go back to the homepage here. So when you're making a campaign, go down to who, what, when, why, and where, right? Who's the story about, right? Now, you've told us about the villain, but we don't necessarily know who the villagers are. So as a reader, we want to get invested we want to attach ourselves to the story somehow, right? Obviously, most of us are not going to attach ourselves to the evil villain, right? We're going to attach ourselves to the people trying to stop the evil villain, unless you're Smurf. So just saying that there's, some people that are trying to stop him doesn't give us anything to, attach it. If you said, a father trying to protect his family stands up to fight this evil villain. Well, hey, now there's lots of people that can relate to that because we all have family, right? You don't necessarily even need to know their name. It's just, how can we relate to this person? So that's the who. Then you got the what, which you've established in the premise, which is what's happening, right? But the other what is, what are we getting for our money? Right now, I have no idea if I'm getting a 10-page comic, a 24-page comic, a 48-page comic. I have no idea, right? And there's no proof. There should be a picture of the cover or something to let us know, like what we're getting for the money that we're spending, right? Over here it says, you get a signed copy of the book. Great. How big is the book? Smurf and I have a friend who launched campaigns that were 8-page teaser books, and so a book can range from quite a bit. And if you say I'm spending $20 on a book, I want to know what I'm paying $20 for. So that's the what. And so you want to think about that as well, right?
Well, and also unify your story, because even in the pitch, you give us the lead in that there's a group of people that band together, but then you say someone needs to rise up. So is it someone inside this group that suddenly rises up, or what? You need to tighten up your overall pitch so that it flows a little bit better and that we understand what we're getting into, to Matt's point. Because what am I getting? Am I getting a group? Am I getting a team book? Or am I getting Batman who has the Justice League, coming up behind him, mopping him up, as he breaks bodies? Right. I don't know what kind of story I'm getting into. And that also goes to Matt's who. I mean, are we cheering on this group? Is this Dungeons and Dragons style where we get the campaign together and then we the dragon? I don't know. There's a lot of, you had the right hook with who's the Optimus bad guy, but
Mhm.
Now it's kind of like, okay, you got my attention, you held me long enough, but there wasn't enough to keep me in the seat.
Right. Now, I think that what I was gonna say, I feel like what you're getting to is like the tone. Is this gonna be a gory, brutal battle between an evil villain and the township? Is it going to be more of a superhero kind of thing? Is it going to be more of a heartfelt kind of thing? Like, what's the tone? What kind of story are we getting? Another good way to do that sometimes is to say, hey, if you're a fan of this kind of story or this movie or this show or this book, then you might enjoy this, because that gives us at least some kind of comparison, right? But this page, or this as it is right now, this needs a lot more work. So one thing I would recommend, Nate, and I think I private messaged you about this. Go back, check some of our previous campaign or videos out. You'll get tons of information. And then the other thing I would recommend is going on to Kickstarter and looking at other campaigns. Go scroll through their thing, look at how they've presented their story, how they've got and showcase, what people are getting, and learning. Like, if you've never done this before, it's to be expected that you don't know, but you got to research into it. And that's going to bring us to our third one, which does have some experience. So Nate, be sure and check this out. I'm sure that you're going to get a lot of good insights from John on this next one, because he's done this a few times. Okay. All right. Well, before we move on, Marv says, if I want to back a campaign, I like to know if the book is done. That's always a good one. If it is, that's great. If not, I might not back it unless I know the artist and I know that I'll get it. That's also fair. So another thing is
not uncommon in this industry. We have seen plenty of campaigns where people kind of take the money. I don't want to be a naysayer or point fingers, but I am aware of at least 5 to 6 campaigns that have done basically that. They've taken the money, never get anything sent out, and that is it. Yeah.
So yeah, that's a good point. So one of the things that you can do if you don't, have the book done is put up a timeline of like when you expect to have pages done and when you expect to have, the whole book done, and as much you can put up there, it's going to make people feel safe because they're investing in something and they know that they don't know you. So they need assurances of every kind. Right. Nate says in the risk section, it says it shows it's done and ready for print. That's great. Good. So that might be something that we make a bigger note of up the top as well, since there's not a lot there right now. All right. This brings us to number 3, Drumsticks of Doom from John Westhoff, who has, like I said, done this before. Drumsticks of Doom, issue 2 of 3, plus the previous issues. A sophomore arc of the heavy metal hit series rolls on with tons of great swag and all catch-up issues. Right? So we don't know anything yet in the tagline. John says, "We all know creators that don't put out. It makes us look bad. That's why it's important that you have something to show potential backers." Yes.
True.
Hate creators that don't put out. All right.
You dirty, dirty little bitches, you.
All right. So this is issue 2 of 3 of the Band on the Silver Mountain series. They are a little over, almost right at halfway at $24.29 out of $4,444. That's a fun number. And finally, we have a video to look at. So, let me make this bad boy full screen and let's get to it.
Hello, welcome to the campaign for Drumsticks of Doom, Band on the Silver Mountain, issue 2 of 3. This is the second mini-series for us from Part-Time Comics. I'm John Westhoff. I am the co-creator, writer, letterer, and publisher at Part-Time Comics. And I thank you so much for joining us. We'll keep this one quick and dirty. We want you to jump back into the campaign. We've got trade paperbacks if you missed them. We've got the awesome metal covers as well. Including for the new issue. Dan and I have been working hard behind the scenes to get the second issue out, and then followed up by the third and final issue of this arc, which will lead us into the final arc in 2026. So if you haven't tuned in before, Drumsticks of Doom is what if Black Sabbath, not the Beatles, became the most popular band in the world, and thus the universe was changed forever, musically and otherwise. Our main character, Lana, she just wants to make her independent music in a heavy metal world when she's thrust into a war to keep heavy metal on the top of the charts. So we've been having a great time. This is technically the 6th issue in the series. You can get all the back issues, but you can always jump in wherever you want with this series. Just like any comic book, you can pick it up and make it your first one. But we have all the back issues here. We've got Argyle plushies. He's been a huge hit for the series. We've got Argyle stickers. This is the first time in the campaign. These were designed by me, actually. And we've got Argyle 3D Argyles for you. So this one's all about Argyle and getting the love of that character from the book out there into the world. But there's so much more. Tune into the campaign. I'll leave you with the awesome art by Laura Helsby, Dan Doherty, and our amazing variant cover artist, Andy Vanderbilt.
All right. Well, ladies and gentlemen, I'm definitely going to get a copyright infringement notice from Facebook soon because
was that the Scorpions?
No, that was Dio or Dio. I forget how you say it.
Was it Dio? Yeah. Okay.
And I mean, I'm assuming maybe, I don't know if you didn't get anything from Kickstarter, that maybe they allow that. But
well, it is under 30 seconds, so there's the slight chance, because even when my radio background, you can go up to 30 seconds as a music bed without it infringing on copyright. That law may have changed over the years, but as of the last time I was on air, that was kind of the guideline.
Well, here's what I do know, and I don't know how we're going to deal with this in the future, but right now, I just today got another notification from Facebook about a video from like May. No, it was later than that because we didn't start in May. But it was from last year, right? And it was early on. And basically they're like from marker 17 and 30 seconds to, this marker here, which was less than 30 seconds. It was basically one of the videos that we watched, just like this, that had copyright music, and they're like, you are not going to be able to monetize this. And that's going to happen when we hit monetization level on YouTube. The same thing is going to happen. So what's going to happen is that there is a feature now in YouTube that during that time, if there's music being played, it'll remove the music, right? So you're just going to hear dead track during the time that you're playing that video, so that the rest of our show can go on and the show can still be monetized. So keep that in mind for any of you that are making videos. There are some loopholes here and there that allow, maybe to play some music. Like here on the show, you'll see me playing like 3-second clips. I do that because that's YouTube standard. 3 seconds is what you get, not 30.
That's just the power of radio, baby.
Yeah. So I would definitely look into the rules, because that one could be that one could come back to bite you. Marv says he thinks that's the Kickstarter report it. I don't really know. I love the music, but as soon as it came on, I was like, uh-oh.
Yeah, I knew immediately. I was just like, oh, like a rainbow in the night. Oh, here comes the police. We're going to get you. As far as the video is concerned, once we get past the music, I think it's great. The only thing that I would change is there's nothing wrong with using still photography. I like that you're enthusiastic about the product and everything else. Just take stills of the items. I think it's cool you're holding them up, but I can't see them. And then you have your cover that's over your Argyle, and there's some overlapping. It also kind of it's distracting from your audio. Whereas if you have a still and you cut from your wonderful, beautiful face that we all want to see, I also want to see the product that I'm going to get for giving you money. So just do some simple still photography, even if it's just items on a black background, which would completely just make that pop. Keep your audio, keep your dialogue going, but just insert that on the timeline over you. So your audio and everything will maintain the same level and same tone, but you'll be able to get all those in, and you could throw in a few more covers, fill in that space that you keep cutting back to that main cover. You could do a couple more covers or something else to coincide with your dialogue. But that is like the big takeaway for me on this one. I love the campaign. I love the idea. Copyright police will be showing up at your door to collect their 35 cents.
Yeah. I love the video. The pitch of the campaign that we got was quick and dirty. It was basically, what if Black Sabbath had become as popular as the Beatles instead of the Beatles?
As the Beatles,
right?
It's perfect.
And so, like, we know what is happening pretty quickly, and so I think one of the things that I would add to that, which we might find out in the story section, to be honest, is a little bit about, like, is there something that the characters are we following the band, and are they trying to achieve something, and does something stand in their way from becoming successful, or is becoming successful causing a problem? And so what problems lie ahead? Because right now, if you just say, what happens if these characters are as famous as the Beatles instead of the Beatles? I know I'm not phrasing it the right way. That could be promoted or presented like a documentary, right? Where there's really not a something that's being trying to achieve. And if you don't have a dilemma that characters are trying to overcome, then it isn't a story. It is a documentary.
Right. I mean, it does kind of feel like it could be like a role from the perspective of the Rolling Stones, except for the toss-in of that other female character that they mentioned towards the end of the pitch, which I think if she is a catalyst or some kind of foil to the story, she needs to be mentioned a little bit sooner than your perks and tier levels. So get all the story points out and then go back to the additional issues and your tier rewards. Which
I think we might be able to, we're going to find out right now with this little bit of text here about what information that might be solving some of the questions that we have here. The first word pops up with the word recap. It says, when Black Sabbath, not the Beatles, became the world's most famous band, the universe was changed musically and otherwise. Lost arts like alchemy were made common. Schools taught about transfiguration and alternate science. Demons were summoned and some stuck around. Oh, now we're getting interesting.
There we go.
Lana loves music. She has played in bands all through high school, and now in college she still plays in her ex's fledgling metal band. She's convinced their drummer to play her indie songs in secret. She's finishing up the best practice yet when they are drawn into a spiritual battle to keep metal on top of the charts. Okay, I'm a little confused about that one. We're going to come back to that. The first miniseries was a wild ride of daywolves, metal cults, and hybrid creatures. The new 3-issue miniseries has Lana and the crew taking the next step in their music journey as they head to mysterious Silver Mountain to record their first album. Their private recording session isn't so private when the characters, new and old, start trying to get on jam. Lana is losing her cool when a mysterious voice calls her into the woods. Okay, so this is answering some questions and causing some more. All right. When I first read this pitch and watched the video, and I should know this because I've been watching him post Drumsticks of Doom comics on Kickstarter for quite a while now. But I wasn't diving deep like I am in the show. I thought that this story was going to be about following Black Sabbath around as they became the world's most famous band and the universe was changed. Right?
Yep.
Now I'm finding out that this story isn't about Black Sabbath. It's about the aftermath of living in a world where Black Sabbath changed the universe. And it's actually following Lana and this band.
The
Right?
fallout from it. Mm-hmm.
And what they're trying to do and playing their songs. So that was a little confusing to me. I don't know about you, but
well, it's a little misleading because you're right. I'm thinking we're following the band, and now it's okay based on the universe building that has gone on. This is really what's going on. This is the aftermath. This is the fallout. So, you know, you have the Stones fans versus the Beatles fans, and you have, you know, different sects of Magic versus Rationale and Wiccans in the middle. I mean, Stones to the left of me, Beatles to the right, Wiccans in the middle. Holy crap, here we go.
Now that I understand like everything that's going on, I feel like this has the potential to have all kinds of cool stuff in it, where basically heavy metal has opened up all kinds of, you know, alchemy and demons and stuff. And when I look at this preview, let me see if I can zoom in on this a little bit. Other way. There we go. We see this this reminds me of the Walking House from the Hellboy movie.
Well, from classic literature actually, because the Walking House appears through all of literature. I mean, like it's in Fables, it's in Hellboy, it's in the Sandman, it's in DC, except for it doesn't walk; it just moves around. So I mean, absolutely. So I mean, I think if you changed it like to a world set or set in the world of Black Sabbath being the ultimate band, we follow so and so and her band around the world. I mean, there's different ways of twisting it, so it makes it flows a little bit better. Yeah.
I'm agreeing with that one. Man, the artwork on here, I'm a big proponent of like super awesome detailed black and white art. And I'm just really drooling over all the detail in this image. There's like an aurora borealis kind of thing that was drawn into the sky, and there's trees with snow on them. Lots of cool details.
Lots of cool. I get kind of like a Faust. I mean, not a lot of people know that comic, Faust. But I mean, V-Hill's work on that. I mean, I see some similarities with the house that's in there and some of the shading on the main character there. But the line, that I like the black and white and the dedication to it. Absolutely, the execution on that is gorgeous. I just want a print of the Walking House. Get rid of the bubbles. Just give me that in a print.
That would look great on like a T-shirt or something.
Right.
All right, so can I jump in here mid-story? Absolutely. You may enjoy the world we're building by reading Volume 1, but we're making these series new reader-friendly. That's always good. You can get a 10-page preview of Issue 1. Here's a little bit about the creators, Dan and John. And then we've got some variant covers. And so... I think honestly, this sounds really intriguing as far as like now that I know everything that's going on, and how there's heavy metal rock music blend. I always love when like metal or music is blended in with comics anyway. But then in this world, it's opened up like dark things, monsters. Apparently there's an alligator in here somewhere. And
me an alligator.
So like the two of those seemed like they fused really well and exciting. I think in the end, for me anyway, and from a marketing standpoint, finding a way to pitch like this part of the campaign. Like it's really a easy, cool pitch to say, imagine a world where Black Sabbath, became the number one band instead of the Beatles. That sets the tone of the environment. It creates the setting. It's the the premise of the world, but it's not the story. The story is Lana and her band are trying to achieve something, and something stands in their way. Some sort of like, monster or mayhem. Will she survive?
Right.
That's the question that you want people to be left with is, will they or won't they? Right. That's
Join us as we watch Lana navigate a world that is not receptive to her, and what is she trying to her overall goal and achievements. Or, I mean, there's so many ways that you could make this focus on her, and you wouldn't have to change much because it's the same story and the same premise. That you can build off of as far as, okay, last issue in her quest for, band recognition, she faced off against, the bassist from hell, or,
right. Something.
the keyboard tempest of eternity. I don't know. I mean, there's so many fun ways you can twist this and build off of the same platform that you don't have to deviate too far. And still encompass everything that you've already achieved with the pitch. So I think it's just rewording and just rephrasing.
And honestly, like that's the only part that I really feel like needs a little polishing. The rest of this is really cool. The artwork's cool. The premise and the setting idea is cool, where like the world has changed because of Black Sabbath. But that, again, that's the premise. So if Nate, if you're watching, take a look over here on the left. You'll see that there are these. I forget, my mouse doesn't actually show up on the screen, but over on the left you see these like or these footnote, and if you click on them, like if I say original cover pages, I click on it, it jumps to that section, and this is really useful because people are very short as far as like attention span goes. And so
say what
when some people come up and they're like, all right, I know I have an idea what this is about. I just want to see like what I'm getting, or what are the rewards, or what are the stretch goals. And this is a way for them to jump directly to that, right? Instead of having to scroll and scroll and scroll and scroll. But also notice that he got to do what the story was about fairly quickly. I would say that at the beginning, we're setting up the premise of like Black Sabbath has unleashed, making alchemy common in schools, talk about transfiguration, and sort of setting up the premise. I would probably just, instead of calling that recap, I would say the premise. And then
the premise, absolutely.
The next section is where we really get into like, what's this story about? But so it doesn't take long to really tell us what we're getting into. And then right away, it says a 3-issue miniseries. This particular issue is 20 stunning black and white interior story pages. So we know exactly what we're getting, and we see this preview. I know what I'm getting, and we get a preview of the previous issue. It's all there, right?
Yeah.
And that's what you want in a presentation on Kickstarter or any platform, really.
Like I said,
great job,
any
John.
pitch. Absolutely. I mean, and you could even keep that as a tagline of, what if imagine a universe where Metallica reigns supreme and the Beatles are an unknown. Or, I mean, I mean, there's so many fun ways that you can mess with that, and then go into, the meat and potatoes of the story. This is well composed and put together. And to Matt and I's point, it's just reorganizing the verbiage and placement of the text.
Yes. Nate says this is gold to me. Thank you. Absolutely. I'm glad you're getting something out of the show. That's what we were striving for. So over here on the right, we've got the new book in digital format. And then we've got the book in print. And his book's only, now, again, keep in mind, you got to have sort of a choice between, do you want to sell your comic at this like prestigious level, which we saw a couple shows ago where they were only doing hardbound copies and that was it. No softbound, no digital, nothing. And I don't know if that one succeeded or not, but you're like, I want to have a prestigious level reward. So right away, your rewards are like $20, $30, $40, right? Or are you going to go with the more like Walmart approach and you lower the price so you get more backers, right?
Yep.
And that's generally what works best in this platform because the comic book buyers generally tend to back a lot of campaigns. In fact, John here, and it shows this on your profile, John's backed 270 campaigns, right?
Good Lord.
Good job, John. But that means that like you're putting, $10 here, $20 there, right? And so you're trying to get as many comics as you can. So having a lower price, especially when you consider they have to practically double that or more for shipping, right? So this is a fantastic price point because it's an affordable price point. It makes you a couple bucks. You're not trying to double, triple your money. You're just getting people, into the
Involved.
book.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's a digital catch up where you get the new book and all 5 previous issues.
Which is brilliant.
Yeah, that's always a great thing to have. Then we've got
because you've already made your money on those previous issues. You're not losing money by giving that as an incentive. All right, you should have already made your money on those issues. And if it entices someone, I can get this. That is again a tier that does not cost you anything, and it helps the fans. It entices the readers, and that's what you're here for. And it adds value without you really having to break the bank on it.
Yep. Now, what metal comic wouldn't be complete without a metal cover?
I wanted to see a closer picture of that. That's why I was like, he needed to have a picture because it looked really cool, but he flashed it up so fast, it was a bad angle. So again, if you go to just doing still photography and inserting those things in there, because I wanted to see the metal cover, damn it.
Maybe there's a picture of it. A lot of times they don't put these in. It's done, but so that you just get like a PDF looking, version of it. But here, take a look at this picture right here. If anybody is new to this, see how this book is. This could even be a mock-up. You can download mock-ups of books that you just place your cover on to make it look like a book that's ready. But notice how we look at this and we see a book. We have an idea of what we're getting. Whether or not this is the actual book or a mock-up doesn't matter. It just gives us a sense of what we're getting. But let's jump down to the whale. Let's see if we've got a whale. We've got these are early birds. Everything minus the metal, $145. All 4 covers, standard for volume 1 through 4. A volume 1 trade paperback, which I think we're looking at over there on the left. Logo pins, a sticker, a beanie hat, a bass player sticker, a guitar pick. Awesome, a guitar pick. An Argyle plush, stickers, and a 3D figure, all for $145. That's a pretty good thing there.
This may just be me talking and being out of sorts. Where are the drumsticks? I understand a guitar pick, but it's called Drumsticks of Doom. Where are my drumsticks?
That's a fair question, John. We want some drumsticks, damn it.
I want some drumsticks. What the hell?
All right. Nate says, do you think a 56-page full-color book for $30 is a good to fair deal? So a standard comic is 24 pages, and those will range on Kickstarter from $10 to $20. So if you're worried about it not being a good enough deal, then think about ways that you can offer more value. For instance, if you have a 56-page book or a 24-page book or any number of pages, really, if you're sending it to a printer, then you have to be making a PDF. All right. So that means that you've already got a digital, you can make it digital very easily. So when they pay money for a book, go ahead and give them a digital copy as well, especially because they might want to keep that printed copy pristine and not even open it, keep it sealed. Now, the other thing that we have to, keep in mind is that you're doing low print runs when you're doing Kickstarter most of the time. Some people are only printing 100, 150, 200, 250, right? And when you go into bigger stuff like Angels of the Renaissance says, my manga is 252 pages and going for $10. That might be that, it depends on how many you printed. If you're printing into the thousands, sometimes you can get a really good deal, especially if it's black and white. Black and white printing is cheaper as well. So that would determine, the value. But based on other campaigns on Kickstarter, I would say, $30 for 56 pages is not bad. That's a decent deal, but you can definitely sweeten the pot. You can say, hey, not only am I going to give you a PDF, but maybe I also will make a thank you page that puts your name in it, because that shouldn't cost a whole lot, right? And you just put it on the inside cover.
Right. And if you're going to do something special like that for 58 pages, maybe a special cover that is, exclusive only to that package. So I would approach it that way, so that you have a little extra added incentive. So that tier alone has this unique, cover to be unveiled later as you get closer, make it a tier reward. So there's a lot of fun ways that you could mess with that, but definitely digital just to entice them for sure. Right
on. All right. Well, we've gone over on our show, but we had a lot to talk about today. See what happens when I start my show with some extras. Boom, we get off track. But
and we didn't even talk about what's going on with the industry with Diamond and all the rest of the nonsense that's happening out there.
No, we're gonna have to have a whole nother show just for that. All right, guys, it's time. It is time for us to decide which one of these campaigns that we will be supporting with our monies this week. Keep in mind, you guys, that each week we support and back one of these campaigns, yet we are still not yet monetized. So we're pulling this out of our own pockets or our asses or something. I don't know. So if you want to support the show, you can either start with subscribing to our YouTube page and helping us get to 1,000 subscribers so we can get monetized, or you can go to actionlinestudios.com and take a look at some of the books that I have made, some of the merch like this shirt. There's hoodies. You can also go to 5280geek.com where they've also got merchandise. And lastly, you can check out a Patreon. You can become a Patreon member for as little as $5 a month to get more tips and tricks and behind the scenes content at patreon.com/Actionline Studios. All right, sir. Are you ready?
Yeah.
All right. I'm going to give the mic to you for just a second while I write down my winner.
Well, while you do that, by all means, please check out Action Line Studios as well as 5280geek.com. We have a podcast that we produce, Weekend Geek Update, available on all major podcasting platforms. Give a listen to what's going on in the world of geek, the Geekverse, as I like to fondly refer to it as. And I do talk about things of what's gone on with Diamond. That has not come out on an episode yet, but if you're interested in movies, comics, shows, things that have caught my eye, by all means, catch up with the latest episode of Weekend Geek Updates. We over 500 episodes for Weekend Geek Update, so I've got a few episodes for you to listen to.
Good. Golly, that's a lot of episodes.
Again, over 500 episodes. Over 500.
All right, sir. Are you ready?
I am.
All right. Drum roll, please. Ready. Drumsticks of Doom is our winner for this week's show. Presented to you because of the amount of information. You pitched it in a way that gave us information. I loved your enthusiasm in your video. I do agree with Smurf that like removing the drumsticks of doom imagery while you're showing your Argyle for one. And I gotta say, we've talked about this before with I think it was Gerald von Stoddard or somebody, but like I am just scrolling through all the stuff behind you, John, and trying to see all the cool stuff you have in the background, which might serve to be a little distracting because I'm not paying attention to what you're saying. I'm like, ooh, what's that? What's that? Oh, that's a cool statue. Was that Max back there that I saw? You know,
I think that was a Max you did see back there. Yeah, I was like the same way. I'm like, is that a statue?
Yes. So what you might consider doing is using a filter that will blur some of that a little bit. So it's still there. You don't have to do a lot of work as far as setting up a backdrop or anything, but that way all the focus is on you and then on the product. Or like Smurf said, showing up some stills of the stuff. But all in all, a really great presentation, great campaign. I look forward to seeing what it's about. I might have to go back and get a few back issues. I need to check my digital archive because sometimes I back these and get a digital version and then forget that I have it. And so I need to go back and check that first. But great job. Thank you all for joining us. And like I said, if you enjoy it, please be sure and subscribe. And Smurf already told you everything that where to get information at. So we'll see you next Friday.
Give us a like, give us a share, tell all your friends about us, and get other people, other creators in on this. They want to be part. They want to be on the wheel. But in the meantime, run fast, laugh hard, and always be kind. Good night.